I'd like to begin by saying I'm commenting for myself. I'm not commenting for the judicial system per se. So with that caveat in mind, I think I'm here because I'm long enough in the tooth to give you a bit of history. Our video really highlights an evolution in the decision about how the criminal justice system operates, particularly in Florida. 40 years ago when I began practicing law, when a child was accused of a major offense, with the exception of a capital offense, which could be charged by indictment and then prosecuted as an adult, anyone who was charged with a serious offense had to be waived to adult court by a hearing in front of a judge. The judge made the decision about whether the person should be treated as a juvenile, kept in the juvenile system, because everyone underage starts initially in the juvenile system when they're arrested, or whether that person should be charged and prosecuted or transferred for prosecution as an adult. In the early 80s, much like was discussed in the video, juvenile crime along with other crime spiked. And there was a particular decision by the legislative branch, as many of you may remember, the concept of being tough on crime became the watchword of the day. Understandable. Everyone was scared. There were a lot of things happening. Houses were being broken into. People were being robbed. There were murders. Understandable. However, the response of the legislature was to take away the discretion from the judge and vest the responsibility with the prosecutor to determine whether a child should be prosecuted as an adult. Over the years, those laws have become even more restrictive and even tying the hands of prosecutors now, where they must file in certain situations. So the legislature has made a policy choice, which is certainly within their discretion, to do these things and work toward what was believed to be a better way of dealing with a problem. As Dr. Arruda has commented, the issue of a juvenile brain is different. And do we want to have a system that takes away discretion from experienced individuals, whether it's a prosecutor, a defense attorney, a judge? Do we really want to do that? And I would say that we should not do that. We should trust our professionals to be responsible, to argue their positions effectively on behalf of their respective clients, and then allow the court system to do what it has always done, which is adjudicate, find fact, apply the law to those facts, and make decisions. Now, having said all that, when I started out, I was doing juvenile defense work. And then I began as a juvenile judge when I became a judge. And my experience is a lot of kids get arrested. Fortunately, not many of them get arrested for very serious offenses. And of those who get arrested, a lot of them self-correct. One touch of that barbed wire, and they say, wait a minute, that's not for me. And that's a good thing. I mean, when we look at our community, we have a community filled with children, the vast majority of whom are responsible, earnest, hardworking individuals who want to develop a good life for themselves and their family and their future. We should trust that instinct, because as some who are here who I've dealt with professionally over the years may recall, I've commented often that the challenge for the court system, particularly the juvenile system, is waiting for the gray matter to gel, if I can kind of use a personal observation. And that's the challenge, because there are some people who will have to go through multiple tests of touching that barbed wire before suddenly that gray matter gels. And indeed, there are some where that will never happen. And those are the ones that have to be identified and dealt with harshly and firmly within the bounds of the law. The other folks, I suggest, should be given opportunities to self-correct. I cannot tell you how many times as an attorney and as a judge, where I represented people as an attorney or where I adjudicated cases as a judge, where I've bumped into an individual sometimes 30 years after the fact and say, you represented me, or you sentenced me, and I went to prison, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me and changed my life. I'm now doing well. In effect, that gray matter finally gelled for those people who went deep into the process. So I want to suggest to you that being responsible, being reflective, and allowing the court system to do what it has historically done is an important and valued consideration. So I would mention that to you as just a personal observation. Thank you for allowing me to be here.